Okay. Got a little after 4, so we'll go ahead and get started with the Town Council meeting of November 8th, 2021. And the opening of the meeting would be the invocation and the pledge.
All right, let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this cooler but still beautiful weather we've had over the last week. And Father, as the holiday season approaches, we just ask that you allow all of us to be able to gather together with our families and friends and loved ones and enjoy the time that we have together. And Father, we just pray for a productive and enjoyable meeting this evening. And all these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And Terry, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just to give you a little update on the agenda, Rebecca is still out with her mother, so she's not here today. And the auditors will be joining us virtually, so. Anything else, any changes? Okay. All right, everyone should have received a copy of last month's minutes. Any comments, additions, corrections?
I move to approve the October 12th, 2021 minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And like I said, Rebecca's not here, so we don't have any of her reports for last month, so we'll do that next month. But you want to introduce the auditors for us, please?
Yes, so joining us online is Carl Hogan. He's going to give a presentation on the FY21 findings from by BBD LLP. Carl?
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, everybody, for letting me do this remotely. It's greatly appreciated, and I'm going to give a quick synopsis of the 2021 audit report. I have Rebecca's highlights here that I'm going to kind of go over some of them and some of what I think are the highlights of the audit report for 2021. One thing, I like to point out at the beginning, and I think I talked to management about this during the audit process, is that when you were preparing this budget for 2020, 2021, and as you were rolling into this year, there was a lot of unknowns. The good news is, as you're going to see in the audit report, and it's been reported to you throughout the year, is that a lot of those unknowns were not negative to the town related to its financial condition related to COVID-19, so which is all great. We'll kind of go over that. There are some, things that kind of threw things out of whack related to the budget associated with COVID-19. We'll kind of go over that here in a little bit, but nothing that negatively impacted the town, which is a good thing. And I think we kind of talked about this and touched base on this last year when we went through the audit process. There were a lot of unknowns. So those unknowns were answered, and we'll go through them right now. But the first thing I want to start with is the independent auditors report. The independent auditors report, basically what it's doing is it's outlining what management's responsibilities are, what our responsibilities are, but the most important thing in the independent auditors report is the opinion paragraph, which is right here. And basically what it's stating is that the numbers that were presented to us by management for the year ended June 30th, 2021 were fairly presented. In addition, there's some other information in here, basically talking about what kind of responsibility or what kind of we're taking for. There are other sections of the audit report, being the management's discussion, analysis, and some of the supplemental schedules in the back. Management's discussion and analysis on pages, I think goes 5, and then we're going to go all the way down here to page number 9. I really encourage everybody, we're not gonna go through the whole thing, or if everybody wasn't gonna read all, 40 some pages of the audit report, I always encourage everybody to read management's discussion analysis. I think Rebecca notes that in her financial statement summary. Basically what the management's discussion analysis is doing is kind of putting everything in a condensed version of what happened during the year for 2020, 2021. And the other good thing about management's discussion analysis, especially on pages here 8 and 9, since the audit is kind of like a historical document, and we're kind of looking backwards, and you're already a couple months into the current year, it gives management the opportunity to talk about what's going to impact the town in 2021, 2022, and beyond, and those things that were known as of the time of our audit report that would be useful to the reader of the financial statements, and it kind of creates like a segue between hey, what happened with 2020, 2021, and what's on the horizon. I'm going to skip back to the back of the audit report here. I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit to go to those items that I think are most important to the town council in terms of the budget being the biggest financial responsibility that the council has, and how you ended up related to the year-end budget. So as you can see up here at the top, this is first 2 pages are your budgeted revenues. As Rebecca pointed out in her financial statement summary, things weren't impacted as we thought. I know she was really conservative, and I know the council was really conservative with this number here, with the income tax number from the state of Maryland being your biggest revenue, but at the same time there were so many things that were unknown about COVID-19 and how the receipt and the distribution of those income taxes were going to be received. And ultimately, at the end of the day, those worries were didn't come to fruition. So as you can see, income taxes were budgeted at $725,000. They came in at $910,000. That's almost a positive variance of $200,000. There's nothing you can do there in terms of you had to be conservative. There was a lot of unknowns, and it's better to be on the conservative side than to be aggressive. Because historically, this income tax number has been going up and up as Leonard Town's been growing. But at the same time, you couldn't put yourself in behind the 8 ball if you did budget more in line with previous years and it didn't come through because of COVID-19. As you look at the rest of your revenues, they're mostly all right in line. So when we come to your total revenue down here, you had right up here you had the 185, and then your total revenues came in almost exactly. So the total variance is related to almost all of the income tax being over budget. The next line item part down is your expenditures. We're going to see a little bit of a fluctuation here being impacted by COVID-19, just primarily because of the fact that some things weren't able to be done as originally anticipated because of COVID-19 and the various restrictions. But overall, you can see here, most of it had to do with one-time expenditures. So there were plans to, have capital outlay for the related to general government that didn't get spent right here. And if you come down here, a lot of the capital projects and purchases were kind of delayed because of COVID-19, and that's mostly being seen down here in the public works line item. Right here, streets and street maintenance. Right here, the 123. So there was a lot of plans to do a lot of projects around the town that just didn't happen because of COVID-19. So ultimately, when we come to the bottom here, total expenditures, they were $192,000 less than budgeted, and it's all being related to this one-time expenditure. So when you went through the 2021-2022 budget process, a lot of those budgeted line items were just rolled over or carried forward to next year related to that. Any questions, concerns? And we're going to go over this in a little bit and kind of look at, how that looks in terms of an increase in your fund balance for the general fund. As we come down below, the other funds that we spend a lot of time with during our audit are obviously your proprietary fund, consisting of your wastewater treatment plant and the trash and the water. As you can see, most of the decrease of the operating loss is all being driven by your depreciation expense. As you can see, operating income, loss before depreciation, kind of break even. And this is, a general theme with these funds on an ongoing basis from year to year. But then you have your non-cash depreciation, which isn't budgeted, but that's driving the operating loss. So what happens is in these funds, the capital expenditures are capitalized and then they're depreciated over their useful lives. And you don't necessarily budget the depreciation because you're just budgeting the current year revenues to pay for the current year expenses, and that's driving the operating loss, that current year depreciation, but that's all non-cash. A better way to look at it is on this next page here. This is where you actually budget for your wastewater treatment plant and for your water and for your refuse funds. This is on a cash basis, doesn't include depreciation. As you can see, on an annual basis, you're going to look at these wastewater treatments, the wastewater treatment plant here, and then normally when you're looking at it from budget to actual, every year because of the growth that the town is having, there's these impact fees that came in on a cash basis that aren't budgeted because they're for one-time future capital expenditures, so that kind of throws off that budget. But this is an annual amount, kind of like the depreciation, kind of like a, you don't want to budget for it because it's for one-time future expenditures, which are showing up as restricted net position on the balance sheet, and we'll kind of look at that in a second. And then when you're looking at this schedule, this column and this column, they're both related to the wastewater treatment plant. As we come over here, water system, positive results of operations, and every year for the refuse collection, you have a contracted service, and that always comes in right in line. You set your trash rate at a rate that would accommodate your contracted services that you have with your third-party contractor. So that's kind of, I'm going to kind of go over some of the balance sheet items next, but does anybody have any questions about, the results of operations for 2020, 2021? Basically, this should be right in line with what's been reported to you on a, monthly basis throughout the year, and should be no surprises.
I'll have to turn my microphone on if you guys have any questions. Okay, no questions? No questions.
These are easy. One thing so I'm just going to kind of go over the balance sheet now. We kind of went through the ins and the outs and kind of looked at, how your revenues, your expenditures did the budget. But here are these items right here that we kind of looked at compared to budget. And, there's that $380,000 I was just talking about. So that's the 190 of the income taxes and the 190 of capital items that didn't happen. So that's the positive increase, or accounting for all of the positive increase in your fund balance. So it was 1.2 at the beginning of the year. It's 1.6 at the end of the year. And we'll kind of look at, what makes up that 1.6 here in a second. So here's that 1.6 right again. And all that 1.6 is, it's just an excess of your assets over your liabilities. Basically this, due to other funds is the due to between the proprietary funds related to, you kind of have all your cash in one concentration account. And then, this is basically the amount that's due, to the proprietary funds because everything's running through one cash account. But ultimately, what we want to focus on is, here's what our assets are, here's what our liabilities are, and here's that $1.6 million. And that's right in line with what from what the town wants in accordance with their fund balance policy. I think in the 50% range of the next year's expenditures. And if you look at these numbers here, we look at this assigned amount right here, this restricted amount is restricted for the highway user fund monies, but this assigned amount here includes an amount that balanced the next year's budget related to those rollover items we were just talking about. And then you have the $1 million of unassigned healthy fund balance at the end of the year. And then when we look at that in relation to the proprietary funds, once again, current assets, you have your non-current assets. But when I look at this, I want to focus on your current assets over your current liabilities. And once again, you're looking at $3.5 million in terms of, positive, because this is what we consider your working capital. I don't want to focus so much on the non-current assets and the non-current liabilities. I want to focus on your operations and healthy $3.5 million. And that lines up exactly with this amount here, almost the unrestricted net position that you're in, which is available to do with what you need to do, not only for future operating budgets, but anything that comes up on it unanticipated. But saying that as well, you also have the impact fees, which are restricted based on the growth within the town. And here's this amount here that we were just talking about before. There's the operating income before depreciation when you look at everything as a whole. And then there's that depreciation expense, and there's that 1.5 we were talking about on the previous line, or the previous budget to actual pages, and then the impact fees here. So when you take the net effect of everything, you're looking at the positive change in net position. But once again, I think the number you want to focus on here is right here, and how you were budgeting for your operating operations. And then one more thing here, the footnotes. I think I alluded to it previously, related to the assignments, but I just wanted to touch base on it. Actually put that. So right here is that 251 right here. So this 251 right here, when you were doing the 2021-2022 budget, these are all those line items and the expenditures that were under budget that we went over in the budget to actual schedule, and they're rolling them forward into 2021-22. So even though you were underspent in those line items, you just roll forward because they're one-time expenditures that you did collect the money for in 2020, 2021, and just the timing because of COVID. But ultimately, when you look at the town as a whole, just the overall healthy fund balance, net position with all the different funds, the little amount of debt that the town has, it's in nice condition as of June 30th, 2021, and I don't see any reason why that would change going into the future. So at this point, I'd like to, if anybody has any questions, concerns, or no surprises.
No questions or concerns. Can you hear me, Carl?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Just on the discussion and analysis, so on page 8, the town's debt decreased by $429,000, and then down at the bottom, the tax rate has remained unchanged since July 1st of 2013. So,
That is correct.
So with all that,
Yes, that is definitely a good point. Just because of that's the great thing about the town. Just the growth and the assessment growth and the growth within the income tax has allowed the town the ability to not have to raise the property taxes since 2013, just because the growth, the assessment growth, coupled with the local income tax growth within the town, has allowed to be able to do that.
so you don't see any concerns as the auditors with their financial statements, overall financial.
I'm sure the town of Leonardtown is very their surrounding places have to be enviable of the position that you're in. I would think.
Okay, thank you. Council have any comments, questions? Okay. Anything else need to add, Carl?
No, I think the last one thing I need to throw out there too is, I know the prior auditors, and I think this is our 3rd year now. I just want to keep on communicating to you. There's no internal control issues. We had no disagreements, no kind of with management. There were no adjustments made to the financial statements, and everything was in good order. And that the internal controls that the town does have in place are more than adequate to meet the requirements that are needed. So those are just additional things I need report to you as well. No different than any other years.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And Carl, appreciate you and your team doing this for us, and look forward to next year.
And
And Carl, just as always, Rebecca does a really good job, and this year she was out a lot, and Jackie Post helped a lot, I know, with the audit unexpectedly, but we enjoy working with you, and we really do know that Rebecca does a great job.
Yeah, and I think the girls definitely stepped up when Rebecca was out. You know, when we showed up and she was unexpectedly there, and we got done just about as much as we would get done with Rebecca there. Everybody stepped up to the plate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Okay. Moving on then. Jada, Planning Department, please.
Unfortunately, the Planning Commission will not be meeting again in November. They've had a rather long hiatus. However, it's looking like December's not going to be a really big meeting, so I think everybody's going to get done all everything's going to get done all at once. So we're looking at meeting December the 20th.
Okay.
Are there multiple items?
There should be, as long as everything goes as it's supposed to, then they should have about 6 items on the agenda, which would be the biggest agenda they've had in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in the review process,
Sure.
so making sure, if the reviews all get done.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Everyone should have received a copy of our police report. We do have a new deputy assigned to Leonardtown, Corporal Rachel Roselle. I was hoping she was going to be here tonight, but
She texted earlier, she had a unexpected incarceration. She had
Okay.
to attend to, so she wasn't sure she would make it tonight. She may be here before the
no,
meeting's over.
we've met her. I think she's going to fit real good with Leonardtown. So. Okay. Move on to the Town Administrator's report.
Okay, as always, it's November is Municipal Government Works Month, and Jay has a proclamation to read.
All right, thank you, Lachelle. The Commissioners of Leonardtown proclaimed November to be Municipal Government Works Month. Whereas the town of Leonardtown was established in 1708, and whereas Maryland is home to 157 other municipalities, and whereas municipal government represents the most responsive level of government, allowing citizens to have direct access to elected officials, and whereas in an effort to educate citizens about municipal government and the importance of their participation, the town of Leonardtown is proud to promote municipal government awareness, and whereas municipalities have enhanced the quality of life for their respective residents, maintaining natural and historic sites and structures, and helping to make Maryland a great place to live, work, play, and explore. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Commissioners of Leonardtown hereby join the Maryland Municipal League in declaring November 2021 to be Municipal Government Works Month in Leonardtown, signed Mayor Burris and the Town Council.
Thank you. Good.
The next item is to review the outdoor seating design for Fenwick Street at the Duke Building. At last month's Town Council meeting, outdoor seating was approved for Social Coffee House on Washington Street and Fenwick Street. And pending the Fenwick Street seating design comes back to the council to review for enhanced safety. Attached in your packet was a revised drawing showing bumping out into the 7-foot parking space with a line of concrete planters, and to create a pathway wide enough for the tables and the 3 feet walkway for pedestrians. The first planter, at least on the end toward the square, could have the bollards that would be placed in the road, and the planter sits over top of it. And then having the elevated platform, even with the sidewalk, would keep ADA accessibility. Additionally, when State Highway originally did the plans for the streetscape project, and the lane width, they were supposed to stripe it with a 13-foot eastbound lane, which is going toward Riken out of town, and an 11-foot westbound lane, which is coming into town on the Bank of America side. However, it appears they reversed that, and so it's narrower going out of town toward Riken. So all we would need to do is restripe that center line, and we would gain even a couple feet on the outbound lane going east for when the fire trucks are taking a call through the town. So that would give a little bit more lane width on that eastbound lane. Also, it would, having the narrower lanes tends to slow people down when they're coming westbound from Riken into town. So I think that would be very easily done. Also, part of the downtown plan talked about the whole Fenwick district and the whole strategy moving forward to make it more pedestrian friendly and creating its own sense of place, its own district. We talked about and moving forward with the L-Town Alley. We'll still do the crosswalk on the end near where Social is now, doing the bump out. Also adding the archway so that people really know when they're coming up the hill from Riken that they're entering a pedestrian area, and that is really where a bulk of our retail is located, so we really do want to make sure that that is a pedestrian friendly area. I really just need consensus to move forward with the design for the Fenwick Street area seating.
And just curious, I know you've ordered the new signage and everything. Any idea when that's going to be coming?
Yeah, I touched base with them. They're having trouble getting some of the blanks to make the signs. They're just about finished though. I'm really pushing them to try to get it up by Christmas on the Square. And they're really working toward that. They're just, as everyone is, having trouble getting some of the supplies. But hopefully we'll get it in time for Christmas on the Square.
Okay.
My only comment on this is I did reach out to the fire department and showed them or told them about what the plan was, and they thanked us for working with them. So they were very kind and very supportive of, trying to be supportive of Sean. And then right before, just as I walked in, I got handed this letter from the Leonardtown Volunteer Rescue Squad, which is made out to the entire council. They called me right before I walked out to come here, and I said, the vote's already happened, so it is what it is. But I did want to let everybody know that the Leonardtown Volunteer Rescue Squad did send a letter, and I will, I guess, copy it and give it to for the minutes or whatever, so that we have it, saying that they have concerns about the safety on Fenwick Street.
Well, and with changing the lane, it's going to give more room on that side, so I think that they'll be glad to hear about that also.
Like I said, I just got it, so I just thought I would share it with everybody.
Sure.
Thanks.
So that's it. That's all I have.
So unless anyone has any questions or anything, we just need consensus to move forward with this design.
So I know in our workshop we talked about, now knowing that lane is to be widened, about having the tables be back out where they were originally proposed to keep the walkway consistent.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't place in tables here to see how it ends up working out.
Right.
But I think it could be either way.
Okay. Yeah. I think now that we know all that, that might be the better. But yeah, however it works out best.
Okay.
So, everyone good?
Yep.
Okay.
No issues.
Okay. Thank you. Then the only other thing, I just had a couple updates for you. The murals in L-Town Alley, 2 of them are moving forward. One of them has a lot of paint on the wall on New View Fiberworks, so it's she's hoping to be fairly well done by Christmas on the Square, and the artist plans to be out there and talk to people during Christmas on the Square. And then on the storage building, the Alice in Leonardtown mural, they should be getting started any time. One of the artists is actually being transferred to Japan in May, so they really want to try to get the mural done before then. And we are actually planning a large fundraiser event wrapped around the whole Alice in Leonardtown theme for the May 1st Friday, and hope to unveil that mural and maybe show the movie on Saturday. But there's a really fun event in the works for Friday night of First Friday as an art fundraiser, so we're really excited about that. And then the waterfront plan on L-Town Alley as well, I'm working to try to shoot some grades with Chesapeake surveyors to just try to look at the stormwater management. We didn't really have that planned, but I just want to make sure that we don't, that we correct any stormwater issues that we have and don't, accelerate the problem. So that's just why it's been on hold a little bit, waiting for them to try to shoot some grades for us. And then the waterfront plan, Mahan Reichel and Arnett Muldrow were here October 18th through the 20th and had a number of meetings with various stakeholders and also with the council. They will be returning November 30th, and there will be a public meeting on November 30th on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. For the public to come and give input on the waterfront plan for the public land in Tudor Hall. All the waterfront from the wharf out to the Port of Leonardtown will be town owned, and we're looking at that and just want to get input from the public on that. So we'll be sending out notices. That's
Okay.
all I have.
Anything else for Rochelle? Okay, I see our Corporal Rochelle just walked in. Glad you could make it.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions? I know we've got all these events coming up real quick, so you're going to be thrown in real quick, and hopefully everything goes well. So,
Just helping me get situated, so. I don't have anything more.
okay.
That's
So,
my first one, so.
welcome to Leonardtown. So look
Thank you,
forward to
thank you.
working with you. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, moving on to mayor's reports. LBA, we got a couple members here. Anything you want to mention?
Board meeting Wednesday, and then we'll move to our meeting for the month and get ready for the holiday.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. The only other thing I wanted to mention is on Friday, the Rotary Club is having the Flags for Heroes out at the CSM campus. It's a fundraiser for the Leonardtown Rotary, and you can actually name your hero to be on the flag. And this year we've got 100 flags that are going up, and hopefully years to come even more. So if you all can make it at 12, come on out. So, okay. That's all I had. We'll move on to council reports. Tyler, events.
So on October 16th, the Amish Outlaws performed in Leonardtown Square. There was a rain delay for about an hour, but still 1,000 people attended, and that closed out the summer music festival. Trick or Treat on the Square happened the following weekend. Very well attended. Really nice weather out. So that was a really good event with kids showing up in costumes and walking from business to business. Upcoming events, the big Veterans Day Parade is this Thursday, November 11th. Christmas on the Square is Friday, November 26th. And then Meet and Greet with Santa is going to be December 14th and December 18th. I'm sure I'm missing an event. I'm trying to think. But I think that was it for events.
Okay.
Have they announced how much money you raised for Dana Norris? Or are you waiting?
Yes, no, it was,
He told me the other day, I didn't know if that was public or not, but I assume it would be.
it was a little less than 15,000, 14,800 and some change.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Great job. Joe worked
Yes.
really hard on that event.
Thank you all very much.
Awesome.
That it, Tyler?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Nick, Community Development and Planning.
I actually don't have anything to report this month.
Okay. And Utilities, Christie.
I don't have anything to report either. I did attend the Benjamin Hance unveiling last week. It was very nice. I don't know if anybody has a chance to go over and look at it at the old courthouse, but it's really, or the old jail, sorry. It was
Yep.
very nice.
Yep. I was going to try to get there, but
It was
Got
very
tied up.
cold, but it was very nice.
It was packed.
It
I drove
was.
by, it was packed.
I got back right about 5:10 or so, and it was still, people
Yeah.
were just starting to leave then. So,
Yeah.
Okay. And Jay, Southern Maryland Municipal Association.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So, beginning of October, I attended the MML Fall Conference. I was in Turf Valley, and Mayor Burris attended for a little bit of that too. It was a good turnout, 247 registered, so I thought that was pretty good. Also attended the orientation for new municipal officials during the conference, and while I was there, Highland Beach, a council member from Highland Beach was there, so I actually recruited her to her SMMA meeting, which we had there at the conference. So we held that hybrid, and that turned out pretty good as well.
Just for everybody who may not know, Highland Beach is right next to Annapolis. So.
Yep. Yeah, we're just trying to recruit them in a little bit. So we're getting,
Yeah, they've
we're
always
getting
been part of it,
Right.
but they've really never been
attended.
active.
there. Yeah, so it was good having her there. They say they want to get involved now, so we'll see.
Good.
So hopefully they do. I do plan on attending the Veterans Day. I'm looking forward to that, and thank all of our staff for their hard work into that. I know we're a little short on volunteers this year, so I appreciate everything the staff is doing. Same thing with Christmas on the Square. I'll be attending that. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary, Business Development and Retention.
Just wanted to remind everybody that we have Small Business Saturday coming up the day after the tree lighting. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic event. They've got lots of stuff. I know I was at the LBA marketing meeting, and they've got some real good ideas coming on.
The wharf activities that didn't pan out, but there's the trolleys running, and so there's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
good activities.
good time to be in downtown Leonardtown. We have a new restaurant coming. If anybody hasn't checked out the Above Par, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to take my kids over there. And then I just wanted to personally give a huge thank you and shout out to a bunch of the small businesses. Leonardtown High School is having an issue because with their theater department, when they started doing the show this year, when they had their last show, they put all the money out to do the show, and then of course COVID came and they didn't have the show, so they didn't have any money. So they came in and had like $1,000 out of their $6,000 budget to actually do the show this year. And so I said, well, let me, go out and reach out to a couple small businesses. And they've kicked in, they've got $4,500. I think we got $4,500 in like a week and a half. And Leonardtown businesses that reached out to help these guys get their costumes and get their show together. And that's just really great. So I really want to thank the Leonardtown businesses that did that. That was really fantastic. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I thought of one other thing, I'm sorry.
Sure.
I attended the Historical Society's annual dinner on Friday night, and they were very appreciative of the help with the lighting. And we also received a letter from one of the residents that was very thankful, that lives right there, and how much better it was.
Great.
So, but they gave a lot of kudos at the annual dinner on Friday night too.
It looked very nice.
And plus, the tree lighting, is there going to be music out there? Is that-
Yeah, we're trying to get some caroling over there,
Yeah.
but we always take the rides by
The rides go around Tudor Hall now rather than around the square, because you just
Yeah.
can't get around the square.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good. Unless there's anything else, I'd call for an adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Quick meeting.